so Eric was doing that at the same time that I had the Parker Brothers, and then he eventually went to work with Prince, which was another story I'm sure you've heard before.
Right.
And, Prince or Eric at one time was living with us right before he went with Prince. He went up there, and he was, played the back end of the Purple Rain tour, played
Right.
solos and things.
Mhm.
And he called me one day and he said, "Hey, you're booked tomorrow for an audition with Prince." And I said, "What?" I said, "I've played in 6 months now."
Right. Yeah.
So he said, "Okay, well," I said, "Okay, well, let's do it." And went up and talked to my wife, and I said, "Should I do this? Because hadn't played." And
Right.
she said, "This is what you've always wanted to do, so yeah, go ahead and do it." So I went downstairs, got my trumpet, and oiled the valves, and said a lot of prayers, and said, "Okay, if it's to be, it's to be." And Eric called back in about an hour and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, it's off." And I said, "Well, ain't nothing happened. That's wasn't meant
Right.
to be." And he said, "No, and it's not an audition; it's a recording session." I said,
Wow.
"Oh, recording session," and I haven't played in
Right.
6 months. So yeah, that ended up being, and I went up there, and we ended up doing the mountains. We recorded mountains with the band, and that was
So
my.
where Paisley Park wasn't built then? Where did you record that?
No, we were in the warehouse, which I'm
Okay.
sure you've heard stories about the
Yeah.
warehouse.
Oh, yeah. 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 Dwayne Tudall's book really in depth about those
Yeah,
days.
yeah, it was just a big warehouse, and he had a studio in there, and Susan Rogers was the engineer that was doing the sound recording everything in the back, and we
Mhm.
had the big Altec Lansing speakers pointing towards us for monitors, and I don't know how she did it, but it was
Yeah.
just amazing the product that she got out. It was just incredible.
How was he at that point in his career as far as recording? Was he demanding like multiple takes? Because we hear he just that's it. It's good. We go fast.
Yeah, I don't think there's a thing. I don't think he could say multiple takes, and that's not his repertoire.
The fans would want to hear that, but yeah, we heard
No, everything was like, yeah, this is it. Let's do it.
right. Yeah.
Well, you probably and probably the fans have heard uh, when we recorded Power Fantastic. That was in his house before Paisley Park was built, and we recorded that. And you probably heard him speaking live on that.
Yeah, like the instructions before, right?
This is the first take, and we might do several takes after this, but it never was. He used the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pure genius, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let
Yeah.
let me let me ask you as a trained musician, reading music and everything like that, working with I guess Prince didn't read music, but working with people different backgrounds like that, how do you gel, or is there not a problem?
Well, it was I guess two scenarios: one in the studio and one
Mhm.
out of the studio. One in the
Right,
studio, Eric and I have probably worked with Prince most in the world than anybody because he can play guitar, bass, drums, vocals, all the
right,
keyboards and everything, but he can't play trumpet and sax. So he called us up a lot to play in the studio, which there's still a lot in the vault that's hasn't been released, and I guess maybe someday will be.
right.
But yeah, Prince did not read music, but that's how I was brought up. And of course, Eric was brought up like that too, in the with music school.
Mhm.
But Prince wasn't. But he would be. There wouldn't even be an engineer in the studio with us. It would just be Prince at the controls, and he would be singing the parts to us, and have his fingers right on the red button, ready to record. And he would sing ba da ba da 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 da. Okay, you guys got it? You ready to go? And we would record it right there.
Right,
So it wasn't anything about writing it down. I would have to sketch some things down every once in a while because I don't have as great a Eric has a great memory. Like all the other musicians in the band are like self-trained, the street players. So you sing them something, they're playing it and they're remembering it. Now I
right.
have to my the thing that I do is I sort of scratch things down and it helps me remember. And if we do change things, and I can change things right there. But yeah, that's the difference between I think the different types of players.
Right.
The the kind that go to music school and write things down, the other people that just pick it up and can go it and remember it. And that's how the rest of the band was. I had to sketch things down, but that was par for the course back then. That's what I did.
Did he give you a little bit of leeway to improvise, like on some of the tours with the horn parts, the interludes, and everything like that?
You mean improvise?
Like little sections that you and Eric performed. Did he let you kind of make up your own stuff, or was he hands-on saying, "I want it exactly like this"?
He would when we would do tour rehearsals, he would be singing parts to us,
Okay.
and we would be playing them back and working them out. The thing that Eric and I think we worked so well together that we could sort of interpret what Prince wanted. Sometimes, we would play a unison line that he would want, and sometimes we would say, "No, we really think he wants that harmonized." And
Okay.
then Eric and I could pretty quickly harmonize things together or change up a little bit of the rhythm or something, and it was always pretty satisfactory with Prince. If it was very close, most of the times it was right on with what Prince wanted, but we would have to change the tessitura to our own instruments, to trumpet and sax, because he would sing us parts, and sometimes they'd be too high for the trumpet, but it would fit right for the sax. So we would switch our ranges around a little bit and change harmonies up a little bit. So we would work with what Prince would give us.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little harder in the a little harder in the future, I guess, when Prince had a bigger band, when he had a lot of horns. You really
Mm-hmm.
can't do that right on the spot.
Right.
It's hard to arrange on the spot with 4 or 5 or 6 horns. But with the two of us, with Eric and the background that we had and the experience we had together, we could do it pretty quickly and keep Prince happy, because he wanted to move along. He didn't have time to. He was already thinking of the next line. He's singing
Right.
one. He's already in another part of the song.
Yeah. Speaking of moving along, I mean, a tour. I mean, double CD, double album, Sign of the Times, my all-time favorite from Prince, and you were a big part of that. And the tour, moving along, you guys did Europe, and then all of a sudden decided we're going to make a movie out of it. We're not going to tour the States. As a member of the band, were you disappointed with that you weren't going to do the tour? Or?
Yeah, actually, it was so cool because working with Prince, I saw a lot of Europe. I would get on, we would have a day off or something. I get on a tour bus. I'd ride around London or ride around Paris or wherever, in Germany, even in Japan, and got to see the country and, talk to some of the people. And I was really looking forward to experiencing that in the States, and maybe doing a tour bus. We hadn't done a tour bus because over there we flew everywhere. We flew from city to city in Europe. So I was looking forward to it, but he wanted to do the movie. I think he was ready to move on, to the Love Sexy era.
Right. And the interesting thing about the Sign of the Times movie was, I guess, something wasn't right. The video synced up and everything, and you guys redid the scenes at Paisley Park. Great job of you guys putting the effort and looking like it was a real live show. Yeah. How time frame? How long did it take to complete the actual performances for that at Paisley?
I think it might have been a couple of weeks.
Okay.
That we had done, stage shots, close shots that I guess they had, and when we initially did the live concert. But after that, it was wow.
Yeah. You still go back and revisit some of the movie, or?
Every once in a while, I like on the tag of the end of it with a beautiful night. That's
yeah.
that's really of course, that's what we did with every show that we did. We ended up with Beautiful Night, and that was you never knew what was going to happen with that. Most of the tour, the show, only about 75% of it was pretty well synced in. He would always change transitions, or maybe even change a song in or out. But Beautiful Night, that was his time to play a little bit, and the end. And he would have all his hand signals and audio calls, and